Welcome to an all-new episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Aluchi. Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Aluchi, aka the Elusive Pundit. Honey, how are you feeling? I am actually feeling very excited because today's episode is the last episode of the last series that we did in January. So in the first week we did loss of a loved one and we learned how to manage that using grief. And then the second week we spoke about loss of success and we learned how to manage that using reframing. And then last week we did loss of youth, i.e. aging, and we try to understand that using entropy. So this week, because it's the hard topic episode, if you guys do remember, when I first introduced the new Looks and Wisdom, I did say that I was going to have a theme for the month and then I was going to break it down into 3 episodes, but the last episode was going to focus on a hard topic. And a hard topic is basically what's currently trending on social media and in the world. So this week I decided that the hard topic is going to be based off of AKA, and that's only because we've been talking about loss for like 3 weeks straight. So I wanted to do sort of like an upside of that and focus on how to be successful. And the reason why I'm using AKA is very simple. It's only because he's one of the most successful rappers in Africa. And I am a huge fan of his music, a huge fan of him as an artist, and it is his birthday this Sunday. So I thought, what a great way to combine my love for AKA, my love for Looks and Wisdom, and also just to close off the last series by focusing on some positivity around how to be successful overall in your life. I am so excited. So without further ado, let's get to it. What is success? Success is the state or condition of meeting a defined range of expectations. It may be viewed as the opposite of failure. The criteria for success depends on context and may be relative to a particular observer or belief system. So I just like simplifying things. So I'll just simplify based on what we're going to be talking about today. So basically success is meeting a defined range of criteria. It's viewed as the opposite of failure. The criteria, that's exactly what I want to highlight, depends on the context. And the context depends on the observer, and you are the observer of your own success or your belief system. So basically success depends on you based on your criteria. So since now we have the definition of what success is, we are going to be talking about how to get there. I have broken this down into 3 talking points. The first part is to make a decision, how to make the right decision for your own success. And the second one is the process, owning the process. And the third point I will be speaking about is victory, how you will win. Let's get to the first point. Number 1, making a decision, making the right choice. So what you need to look for when you are trying to make the right choice. The first thing you need to look for is, who are you? That is informed by a lot of things, where you grew up, who your parents are, but basically who you are. And secondly, what do you like as a human being? What is it that turns you on in life? And then the third thing is, where do you see yourself in your evolution? Basically what your end game is for life. Again, I said I was going to be talking about AKA and using him as an example for this episode. So I'll break it down into how AKA answered the making a decision part. So my goat, AKA the Supamega, knew he was very interested in music from a very young age, and that was informed by him growing up in a musical household. He talks about his dad's influence into him being interested in music. And then later on, he decided to pursue music production, and then that led into him being a rapper, and then into him ultimately being a superstar. But basically, he knew who he was based on his upbringing and being surrounded by music. And then the second part is, what do you like? And for him, because he was influenced into music, he liked music and he wanted to pursue that. And what is the end game of your evolution? He wanted to be a very famous and successful human being. So first of all, you need to make the right decision for yourself by following your own guide on who you are, what do you like, where do you see yourself at the end of your life. Before I move on with the making a decision, I wanted to speak about something that often happens to all of us, and this happened to AKA. So once you make that initial decision, and for AKA it was to be a rapper, and then he formed a musical group that was a rap group, and then they started getting some traction. And then once they started getting some traction, his other group members were like, oh no, we want to pursue corporate careers. And then AKA was then left again to make his initial decision again of wanting to be a rapper. And he made that decision because thereafter, when his first group broke away, he formed a new one, a production group called the Ivy League. And then that's when they got their first breakthrough with producing No More Hunger for Kulichana. And that set up the motion into AKA becoming AKA. I wanted that point to be known, that you're going to have to make that decision time and time again, because you're always going to be tested into, are you sure? Are you sure, baby? Are you sure, darling? The second thing I wanted to talk about is obviously the process. Owning the process. And I want to talk about three things, which is intuition and flow. The second thing is trusting the process, and then struggle and loss. Intuition and flow go hand in hand. When you are in the process of your life, which is the flow, your intuition will guide you in terms of where you need to go. And for AKA, it was when he was now in the entertainment industry and he was in the flow of his life, going in the direction of being one of the greatest superstars we've ever witnessed in Africa. He then had to trust his intuition into how he's going to get there. And for AKA, it was through him trusting the intuition and his guidance to merge house music and rap music. And that was something that was new in the rap industry at the time. And when he first did that, I think the song was Congratulate, and everybody was like, what is rap doing in house music? But because he trusted his intuition, later on, we all caught up into what he was building. And in the process, he mastered that process himself, because by the time he was dropping Lemons to Lemonade, he honed that house hip hop lane to the T by himself. So you need to trust your flow, where you're going, and you need to allow your intuition to guide you into how you are supposed to be part and parcel of that process. Next thing I want to talk about is trusting the process. And that basically just means that, which ties into struggle and loss. Whenever you are doing something, trying to accomplish a dream, a goal, or anything like that, a simple example is you go to the gym. You have to trust the process that you're eventually going to go somewhere, but you are going to experience things while you are trusting the process, and that comes in the form of failure, loss, competition. So AKA's failure, according to him, and I got this information when I was listening to his song Imbuzi, he talked about the fact that when he was in the industry, he wanted to be number one on the MTV charts, and he was never number one. And that failure fueled him into creating hit after hit, because he wanted to be number one. And instead of taking that failure as if he's failing, he used it and channeled it to create even more songs. And then another thing that happens on the road to success is obviously competition. You are going to get competition. And for AKA, that was a guy called Casper Nyovest, and they went in back and forth about their beef. I'm not going to get into it, but ultimately standing in who you know you're supposed to be helped AKA, because he knew he was a great artist, a great producer, and a great rapper, and he didn't try to be in anybody's lane, to a point where we used to bully him because his competitor used to be one of the best dancers in the industry and he couldn't dance, and you're like, okay, you need to learn to do something. And then he did put a little situation going on, but anyway, so that's what I wanted to say. So while you are trusting the process and knowing that you're in the right direction, know that there's going to be naysayers, know that there's going to be competition, know that there's going to be hate, but you need to stand in your decision that you have made for yourself. The last and final thing that I want to talk about is obviously victory, how you will win. And I broke that down into, you need to break down the process, you need to have consistency, work hard, and rest. So victory, 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 how you will win. So breaking down the process, so you need to be able to know the steps that are needed to be taken to be able to get to where you need to go. And for AKA, as much as it's not like known information, he actually did go to school and try to obtain a sound engineering degree, which helped in his production, and that obviously helped in him having the best beats, that helped in him being a great rapper, blah blah blah. But then he broke down that process into, what do I need to do first? And then once he did that first, then he got a group of friends, and then they started rapping on his beats, and then he got a production group, Ivy League, and then they started creating beats for other people, and then he started rapping himself as a solo artist, and then he started getting his songs in the radio, and then he started doing tours, doing videos. The graduation of it all just starts with a simple step: what do I need to do first? So you need to be able to break down the process. The second thing is consistency. Whatever's happening in your life, you need to always stay on your goal and your dream. And for AKA, despite the competition, despite the new guys coming into the industry, despite Amapiano coming in to be the overarching genre in South Africa, he stayed in his hip-hop lane. He stayed in what he knew. He released album after album, music video after music video, did tours up until his last day. So you need to stay in that consistency. You need to stay in that hard work of putting in the work despite what is going on. The final and most important step, according to me, is you need to just rest. You have to put in energy, you have to put in effort and energy in your dreams, but rest is as important as putting in that hard work, because good ideas and intuition only speaks to us in rest. And then when we are awake, then that's when we need to actively put in the physical labor that's required for our dreams. But for our dreams to work, we need to be able to work hard and to rest. I am the queen of luxuriating. I rest on weekends. I prefer doing nothing. So we had times when AKA didn't release any music, and it was like 2-year, 3-year gap between albums, and we didn't know what was going on with the GOAT. And that's because you need to go back into real life, experience life, that then inspires the art that you do later on. So resting is very important. And so yeah, that was it. So basically, in order for you to be successful in life, according to my 3 steps, is to, you need to make the right decision for yourself, and that's usually guided by your own life experience from when you're growing up until you have to make that decision. The second thing is that you need to trust and immerse yourself into that process. Do what it takes to be able to be part and parcel of that process. Embrace that struggle, embrace that failure. The greatest things in life come from being able to fail and then being able to get up and do it again, because now you are coming from a place of wisdom and knowledge, because you did it, it didn't work, so you have a better way to do it. And then the last thing, victory, how you will win, is you need to break down the process. You need to stay on your consistency and your hard work, and you need to rest. And I just wanted to end this with my quote that I like from AKA, that sort of like encompasses and embodies this last series that we did this month. And it basically says that Every failure is a lesson. No further questions. See you guys next week. Thank you for joining. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you.